Before we begin today's show, today I want to talk about Omni Labs. Make sure you guys do check the description below. Omni Labs has some pretty cool stuff with their telepresence with the robotics. I actually saw a tweet today. Actually, Omni Labs had a robot in somebody's home, and they were actually doing workouts with somebody while using the robot. I thought that was cool. And then one of the things that I remembered with Next Level was, what if I'm in bed and I want to just push this thing up in there? And I'm like,
They
nah, that
got that
doesn't
from our
count.
podcast. I know it.
Yeah, yeah. But no, true story. If you go on Twitter and you go to Omni Labs, go follow them. You'll see people how they're using it in their real life situation. So in the description below, we have a link. Click on the link, go to their website, and just find a fun fact about Omni Labs. Come back to this video, put it in the comment section. So all that information is in the description below. So check out Omni Labs in the description below.
We can't forget about Buzz TV. We've been using Buzz TV for years now. We've absolutely loved the user interface and all of the different integration they've done over the years. We recently did an episode talking about their pre-orders that they have out now for their XRS 4900, which in my opinion is a game changer in regards to hardware and software, as well as their Buzz TV VidStick Max, which you're never going to get that much storage and an SD card slot in a stick anywhere else but Buzz TV. So make sure you check out the link in the description below and see what else that Buzz TV has to offer.
Absolutely. And also, make sure you guys get a freaking VPN. There's just so many just nonsense happening out there right now, and we keep telling guys literally get yourself. It's a good investment. It's a really good investment to be protected, because you never know what's going on, and it's just a smart thing to do. We have ones that we recommend in the description below. Good discounts. We've been doing some videos. I did a video just recently on how you could get some more speeds. So make sure you guys get that hooked up. Now, let's talk about investments 101. We've actually had several people, and I know Next Level, you have a Telegram group that you drop things in there too when you're like, hey, this is gonna move, this is gonna go up, this is gonna just check it out. And if you're not really sure how to invest into stocks, into cryptocurrencies, this is your crash course video. So the one thing I'm going to say, and Next Level and I had this conversation a few months back, and what I kept telling him was, in our lifetime, at the rate that we're going, it doesn't matter if you have a 9-to-5 job. Good luck retiring in your 60s. There's some people that are even you know what, even like 10 years ago, they're still in their 70s working and trying to retire, and unless they did some very smart investments when they were young, it kind of sucks like right now to know if you're going to be able to retire at a certain time.
It's funny that we're talking about this subject today. I actually ordered something in the mail and I received it today, and it's kind of related. So I wanted to show you for the people that are listening to the audio. If anybody remembers the Garbage Pail Kids, do you remember the Garbage Pail Kids?
Yeah.
Check this out.
GameStop.
Game
Crap.
Stonk. And it's got all the different characters. There's Bernie. I have Elon. All the different characters. It's actually pretty funny.
Oh
So
man.
it's like all 2021 characters. You have Elon, you have Reddit, you have a bunch of different things. So I thought it was going to be like a collector's thing. I bought a couple packs of the cards, but yeah, investing is definitely something that everybody needs to really get involved in. It's crazy because I've been having conversations with my son who's 13 now, and I'm like, it's not about the amount of money that you have. It's actually having money, because there's a huge percentage of people on the everyday that are living paycheck to paycheck.
Mhm.
And even having a second paycheck saved can make all the difference in the world at the right moment in time.
Mhm. Yeah. Um, we talk about multiple sources of income. It's funny when you get some haters out there saying like, "Get a real freaking job." YouTube, why are you on YouTube? It's like you make money on YouTube, so how is that not a job? There's some people that just hate people's successes, and you know what? With having multiple sources of income, if you have a regular 9 to 5 that you have to punch in somewhere and you've always wanted to do YouTube, even if it's just like a little bit of money to play with for like stocks or investments, IRAs or anything like that, then do it. Who cares what anybody out there like okay, anybody out there that is a hater, it's because they're just mad at themselves for not being able to do something that you're doing.
100%.
Plain and simple. Um, I'm going to pick on one of my buddies, and I hope he takes this to heart. Surge Flicks, if you're listening to the
Oh, he's
audio,
listening.
he's listening. He listens to us. Surge Flicks. Um, get your ass going. Open up a freaking YouTube channel or some kind of website. I think he's got a drone now. You take some great videos for your 9 to 5 job,
Oh yeah, we've seen some of
dude.
them.
You could easily do tutorials on how you do your transitions or how you record stuff.
Easy, yeah.
Or if you don't even want to talk, you could just do videos on just things of how you're recording things, just like simple things, just a tutorial or maybe just images of stuff that you're doing. Um, but it's funny because there's so many people out there like Serge that have all these hidden talents and they go reporting to somebody else to collect a paycheck.
Yeah,
And you have the tools already to make like a YouTube channel or an Instagram or TikTok or website or whatever and market yourself.
right. It's the difference between being paid hourly versus becoming a contractor and getting paid by the job. Once people understand that they can get paid by the job and the hourly doesn't really matter, that's a game changer.
I'll say this too. Um, with like for example, people are probably wondering like, what does SearchFlix do? So he does videos and stuff for a car dealership. I don't even know if I'm allowed to say that, but sorry, sorry if I wasn't supposed to surge, but um, dude, like I've had people ask me, and before this whole pandemic crap started, people were asking me like, "Hey, how much do you charge to edit a video for my kid? He's going to graduate high school and I need somebody to edit some videos and put it together." I created this whole 10-minute montage of their wrestling team and we exchanged services. I was like, "Hey, you know what? I need my garage upgraded and I know it's going to cost a good amount of money to put lights and electricity and like all kinds of crap." I'm like, "How about this? You come down, you fix some of the walls, you replaster some of them, you texture them. I'll paint it, put some electricity, put some new lights, new switch, some new wall plugs, and we'll call it even." So yeah, we traded services, and one thing that I've kind of been like dying to get into that I've had a lot of people tell me, "Dude, get into it." I have this talent with editing videos.
Yeah.
I have drones.
Hmm.
I have cameras.
Hmm.
And there's been tons of people telling me, why don't you go record for like weddings or why don't
100%.
you do parties or pictures or and I'm just like, and people were telling me, "Dude, I'll pay you. Like your stuff is good. Why don't you do it?"
One of the craziest YouTube channels that I found recently was a guy who drives around my province and reviews car washes.
That's interesting.
Legit. I'm talking about millions of views.
That's actually kind of cool.
So if you have an idea, you don't down it until you try it.
Hmm.
And if you try something, I mean really try it. Don't try it just to be like, well, I don't really think it's gonna, just put your passion into it and see where it goes. I mean, everybody that follows my live streams knows Preppy Mama. Preppy Mama started a YouTube channel. And one of the things that I told her, the hardest thing about being a YouTuber, I said, it's not the editing, it's not the SEO. Sometimes it's not even the content. I said, the hardest thing when you first get started is hitting the record button.
Mm-hmm.
It's just hitting
Yeah,
that button.
for sure.
And I told her some of the tricks that worked for me to start the recording. And today was the first time she got 1,000 views in a day. And I was
Nice.
like, wow.
That's awesome.
So if we could tell anybody anything when it comes to new ventures, to passions, to YouTube, to investing, to anything you want to do in your life, today is the best day. Just
Hmm.
do it. Doesn't matter what it
Now,
is.
some people might be asking, what the hell does this have to do with investment? Well, for one, this is investing in yourself. Now, let's just say you have a killer job and you're just like, you know what? I always put money into a savings, and I would gladly, instead of going and buying lottery tickets, I would gladly like to invest in Bitcoin or Ethereum or, I don't know, Tesla, Disney stocks, Amazon stocks, whatever it is. Um, so with this video, um, I guess you could call it the investment in yourself is like a part one. Like, take yourself serious. This is more of a part two of how to look out for things out there that you want to say, hey, if I put X amount of money in this, can I actually make something 10 years from now where I
Mhm.
could say, cool, I'm putting this away to retire. Let me just leave it be and just let it do its thing.
Let it ride.
So I'll give you guys a quick story here. So when I first started to get into investments, and I was looking, and actually, you know what? I'll talk about Bitcoin. Um, I was looking at Bitcoin when it was a few years back. I think 2017. I think it was like the end of 2017 when there was like a big spike, and I jumped in when I think it was up to 21,000. I think it was, and it jumped to 22, and it was just like, and I like, there was just this huge buzz about Bitcoin, how much it came up, and I think it was like 10,000 or something like the month before, and then it doubled. Um, and I was like, cool, let me put in a couple $100. Um, I had my brother-in-law. He put a couple $1,000 in there, and we're very green, just like, hey, let's just see what happens. Um, we woke up the next day when it was like, we both invested like at 21 G's. And I put a couple $100. He put a couple thousand. We both woke up the next morning. He's calling me saying, dude, pull your money out. I'm like, why? What happened? He's like, look at what happened. And I looked, and I think it was down to like 8,000. And I was like, ooh, bro, what happened? And the thing that I didn't even feel bad about myself, because I was like, I only put a couple $100 in. If I lose it, whatever. He actually pulled his life savings.
Oh man.
And he's just like, because he had that same thought as what we said, like, we're not going to have enough money to retire.
Yeah.
And he just quit his job. He pulled everything out of his life savings and he threw it all in there, 100% in there. And when he woke up the next day and he saw that it dropped it like 60%, he cried, you know? He was just like, pull your money out, dude. He's like, I'm pulling mine out. I cannot lose this money. And I told him, I was like, dude, as much as it hurts, you need to leave it in there.
100%.
Don't pull out. I'm like, if you were like, if you knew what you were doing, you were I know you just left your job. You weren't touching that money to begin with anyway. Leave it in there, because even though it crashed, it's going to eventually come back up. It has to. Like, people, there's going to be more and more people investing in it. So you have to like almost like look away, you know? And see what happens. I'm like, the only time I would even look in there is to see if, I'm like, hey, I got an extra $1,000 to drop in. Where can I throw it in?
Mhm.
And sometimes it's tempting. I left my couple $100 in there, and I when it dropped, I put in a couple more, and I put a couple more. Long story short, I ended up with, oh my gosh, 4G's profit.
Nice, man.
4G's.
Gotta buy that
So
dip.
yeah, and I'm just like, cool. I pulled everything that I invested, and I left the 4,000 in there that I gained. That technically is not mine. I invested in it. It's mine. I invested in it, but that's money that I didn't have before. So now I'm playing with that money. Now I'll tell you this. Um, I really don't want to talk about what's currently happening because I don't want to scare people or anything like that. But when you throw your money in there, the one thing I would say is you have to be afraid of losing it, or you cannot be afraid of losing it. I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. You cannot be afraid of losing it. If you throw it in there, it's gone. That's like the first thing you should tell yourself. As soon as I throw my money in there, it's out of your bank, it's out of your savings, it's out of your pocket. Leave it alone. Don't do nothing with it. Um, and you never know. You never know what's going to happen. Now, I know next level, you kind of have a pretty good venture that you've been doing for the last couple months, and it's been, I guess, a work in progress, you can say.
I've learned a lot. I mean, I've been playing with stocks for a little while, but lately I've kind of dived a little bit more into shorter term investments, right? And one of the things that I've been preaching to a lot of people is when you see profit, you take profit, right? There's actually a really, really good quote from Albert Einstein. And he actually says, he says, compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. He who understands it earns it, and he who doesn't pays it. So no matter the profit that you get, the whole point about it is to take it and reinvest it, right? If you don't really know what's going on in the market, as soon as you see profit in something, don't be afraid to take that profit and reinvest it into something else, right?
Mhm.
It's all about taking the money that you save from maybe getting 4 coffees a week instead of 5 when you're going to work, or instead of buying those lottery tickets, you invest into something else, because there is so much information when it comes to the stock market if you just do the research, right? It's almost a safer gamble, but it's still a gamble. So that when I say, when you see profit, take profit, and then just learn to understand and tolerate what your risk level is. And as you do it more and you become more comfortable, then your risk tolerance will change depending on how you grow with your investing and what you choose to do in it, right?
Mhm.
One of the things that I was preaching a lot when I started recommending certain plays that I was doing, and I was telling people, I would, obviously have a good idea with some of the research that I was doing, that certain stocks were going to be going up very large. And I mean, I've shown Rojas some of the stocks in my portfolio that went up almost 2000%, which is crazy because they were actually crypto plays, right? It's hard to know that a stock is going up 2000%, but you can have an idea that it's going up by a lot. But I would still recommend, if you're new, once you see your 25-30% profit, cash that out, reinvest it into something else, right? It just, to me, it makes sense. That's how you get people to build their own risk tolerance, right? One of the guys that I learned a lot from when I was starting to get into this investing was, he said, don't worry about if you cash out your profit and the stock still goes up, because you made your profit. It means you're doing something right. You can't hate yourself for pulling out too early and you're still making money. You're in a better situation than when you started.
Yeah. Now I did do something where I kind of freaked out a little bit with Bitcoin. I invested. This is money that I had. I put in 1,000, and I think I'll tell you how I got to that 4,000. I put in. I moved another 1,000 over, so I was sitting with two, and I was at 20. I think Bitcoin was like at 22,000, something like that,
Mhm.
and that sucker jumped up to like 45, 46, and I was like, I just doubled my money, dude. Hell yeah. And I think it got like it was getting up to it was close. It was getting very close to the 50s. And I saw it drop to 45 and I'm like, pull out, and it dipped below 40. And I was like, oh, I'm so glad I pulled it out. And that sucker almost hit 60 just recently.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
getting close. And trust me, I was looking at it like, damn it. Like I should have just left it in there. And I did think about it. I'm like, I should have left it in there. But what I did was exactly what Next Level said, reinvested it. I got that money and I was looking at Ethereum and I was like, dude, I could own 4 Ethereum coins right now. And one of the things that I forget who was the investor that said this. They said if you want to retire within the next like 10 years, you need to own 7 Bitcoins. And that was at the price of like 20 some thousand at that point. So that's why I'm just like, well, let me put $2,000. It's not 7 Bitcoins, but whatever. It's a start, And I went on, I doubled it. I had the 4. I put the 4 in Ethereum, and that doubled. Right now Ethereum went close to like two grand. And I was like, dude, this is crazy. And there were, and I read it somewhere else too that they were saying with Ethereum, before it jumps, and they're talking about like a massive jump. Like I kept telling people like Bitcoin's gonna hit 50. And they're just like, there's no way it's gonna hit 50 before the year ends. I'm like, you know what? Not only is it gonna hit 50
Right.
before the year ends, it's gonna hit 50 in the first quarter of
Yeah,
this year.
100 by the end of the year.
And 100 by the end of the year. You remember that conversation?
Yeah.
I was like, it's gonna do it. Now, I wish I saved the freaking thing there because I wanted to share it with you. And this was like 2 weeks ago. They were saying with Ethereum to have the exact same mindset of if you own 7 Bitcoin within 10 years, you should be able to retire because that sucker is going to go crazy high. They're saying with Ethereum, you need for the next 10 years, if you want, you need to own 12 Bitcoin or 12 Ethereums.
Yeah, coins.
12 Ethereum coins to retire within the next 10 years. And they're talking about Ethereum to hit 20K by the end of this year. And I'm just like, I don't see 20K for
10.
Ethereum. I see 10.
Yeah.
I see 10. But the way they were like describing it, Bitcoin's like right here and Ethereum's right here.
Mhm.
And the way they were talking the movement, it made sense. As soon as Bitcoin hits 100, that Ethereum would be right about 20.
Right.
So I'm just like, okay, if that were to be true, and if I were to get my investment early, I'm almost like, shoot. And I'll share something here. I'll share something here with Next. I pulled out the 4K.
Good move.
When it hit that peak, when it hit that 2000, I pulled it.
Good move.
Right now, I'm hoping this thing goes down to under 1,000 again, so I could throw it right back in.
So I haven't looked at Ethereum, but there's speculation that Bitcoin's going to drop to about 42 to 46,000.
Mm-hmm.
So that could relate to Ethereum dropping as well. This is all speculation. We're not investment advisors. Do your own research, see what happens. We're just amateur investors like you guys, or some of you who do invest, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the whole point is trying to invest is a lot better than trying not to, but always do it responsible. The local lottery here, their slogan is know your limit, stay within it. And I think it's a great slogan for anything when it comes to investing, right? There are very, very like passive investment ideas like treasury bonds, for instance. I think they pay like something like 1.5%. Like, I mean, your savings account will probably give you better than that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So understand what your risk tolerance is, but always, if you are playing a little bit more of a riskier bet, make sure that it's with money that you can afford to lose, right?
Now, The one thing I won't recommend, and again, we're amateurs, we're not advisors. We're just trying to give you guys like a basic crash course of what to look at. Um, there's several apps there that you can use. So in the States, you got Coinbase. Coinbase is a great one. It has all the cryptocurrencies in there. If you're looking into Dogecoin, I call it Doggy. They don't do Dogecoin or Dogecoin, but they do the Bitcoin and they do the Ethereum, which is the two big ones. They compare it to oil and gold, I guess. Um, Weeble. Weeble's another good one. Weeble's a really good one that you could do a little bit of crypto. I think they have, and I'll check mine out. Um, Weeble has a lot of the stocks,
Webull is a great platform. I don't have access to it, but I've been looking at it through one of my friends, and it's got so much stuff in that application. It's amazing.
and the thing with Weeble is, so for crypto, they only allow four. You could only get four of them, no matter what. It's Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, and Bitcoin Cash. Those are the four that you can get. You're allowed to look at the other ones, but you can't
It
get
just
anything.
teases you.
Yeah. Now, when it comes to the markets, like the Dow joins, the S&P, the Nasdaq, it has all that.
Yeah.
Some of the like Next Level said, "Hey, check this one out," and I'll look at it in there, and I don't have access to buy it. So, a couple things you might have access to, some things you won't, but for the most part, Webull has a lot of good stuff. Now, there's another one. Go ahead next.
It could be because some of the ones I told you about were like Canadian stocks. So that's
Probably,
probably the Toronto Stock Exchange, right?
probably, yeah, yeah. So, here's another one. Uh, Robinhood. I actually bought Dogecoin in Robinhood. There's a rumor that freaking Robinhood is the big whale, supposedly that Tesla's trying to get rid of. But um, with Robinhood, they also have different markets that Webull might not have or Coinbase might not have. I have all three of them. Just because it gives me access. And it's funny, when I open up Robinhood, I only open it up for Doge to see where it's at. That's it. That's it. I open up Weeble because in Weeble I have where is it? Where is it? I have Greenland Technologies. I was reading on next level, like what the hell's that? Green Level Technologies, GTEC is what the code is. And it was I bought it right before it jumped.
Mm-hmm.
I kept seeing stuff about Greenland Technologies. It was at $7 and they're like, if this thing's gonna go up to like 24, $25. And I'm like, really? So I put $500 on there at $7, and it sure as hell did jump.
Nice.
Right now it's at 1209. I pulled out my what I put in when it hit the peak, plus a couple extra, and then I left the rest of it staying there, and it dipped. But everybody keeps saying this thing's gonna go up to like 40 something. So I'm kind of like, cool, let me just leave it then.
Generally, when we're looking at cryptocurrencies and a lot of stocks, yes, they generally go like this over a long period, but it's not a straight line. Like there's a lot of up and downs. And if you start to do your research, there's things called, the resistance and the stock line testing the resistance. And, if it hits something, it might drop, it might go up. There's all different kinds of patterns when you start to look into charts like your candles and all kinds of crazy stuff. So, I mean, that's why I say it's kind of like gambling, but if you do research, it's safer forms of gambling because there are patterns, there are trends. Even outside of the charts themselves, you can actually find news publications that talk about investments that are going on with some of these companies and mergers and acquisitions and all kinds of crazy stuff. So,
Mhm. And the cool thing too is you could follow a lot of this stuff. Like
mhm.
if you're in Twitter,
Oh,
like just follow
Twitter
certain
gold.
people that tweet stuff.
Twitter gold.
Telegram. There's groups in Telegram. There's
You know,
there's a lot of places on YouTube. There's a guy that follows all the trends and will just drop videos on it. So there's so many avenues that you can go through.
on Twitter, here's a neat trick that maybe not a lot of people know. So obviously with Twitter and most of the social media, You can use hashtags to find things that are similar. But on Twitter, you can actually use the dollar sign. So what you do is you put the dollar sign in and then type in the ticker symbol, and you'll see everybody that's talking about that stock. It's pretty interesting. So
Hmm.
that's something that I learned, and that was a game changer for me, just being able to see everybody talking about a certain stock and what they're saying. Now, remember, this is the internet and not everybody is a stock advisor, but I'm sure if you do your research, you find a couple people that you trust. Even if you trust them, doesn't mean that it's going to be right, but you kind of be able to get an idea when you look at enough people talking about the same stock. So
Yeah, for sure. So it's just a matter of following trends and seeing who's saying what. So yeah,
in
so in Canada, which apps do you have up there?
So the main we don't have, and I wish we had things like Webull. The main one here, if you're looking at commission free, is an app called Well Simple. But Well Simple, you don't get access to a lot. You get access to maybe about 85-90% of the American stocks, not all of them. You only get access to two cryptocurrencies, which is Ethereum and Bitcoin. You can't even see the other ones, so they don't even tempt you. They give you a couple different accounts that you can invest into. They also have like a managed portfolio where you can just put money in and they'll buy the stocks for you and they'll ask you a couple questions to see your risk level and stuff like that. And to be honest, I've told everybody who's thought about investing to start with a commission free platform, right? And the great thing with a commission free platform is you could literally just buy one stock if you wanted to. You could buy a stock at 50 cents. There's no commission. So that 50 cents is your 50 cents. And if that stock goes to $5, well, shoot, you could buy five other stocks at $1 each. And if those go to $5, you like there is less risk because there's no commission. And it's a great way to start.
So you only have one app in Canada?
One commission free app, yes.
What other apps do you guys have in Canada?
There's another platform that's called Quest Trade, which is the next cheapest one. I think it's like $5 or $6 for commission. And then everything else is pretty much just your banks.
Yeah. So I know Cash App was another one that started to accept cryptocurrencies, which I was kind of shocked. I'm like, really? Like I forgot where I heard it, and I was looking at my Cash App. I was like, oh shoot, it does have that.
Yeah, we did that on a podcast one day.
We did. I know E Trade is another one. E Trade is a little bit more confusing, but to keep it simple, they have some really simple ones. And depending on where you're at in the world in your region, just look up and see what trading. Like this is what I would do. Where can I trade Disney stocks?
Disney
Where
stuff.
can I trade Bitcoin? And it'll give you the apps for your country
Mhm.
to say, hey, this app just does Bitcoin or crypto. This app does just the stock market, or this app will do both. So that's what I would do. And I would look and see if there's any kind of fees or payments or anything that you have to make, maybe a one-time fee or whatever. So that way you at least have a general sense of like, okay, this app does this and this is what I can do. But it really depends. I know with the states, those are Coinbase, Webull, Robinhood, three big ones, and they're pretty simple to use. You just click on it, trade it, boom, you're done. You set up your bank account, and that's it. So
And
do your research
a
and
lot
don't
of
be
those
afraid.
applications have a really good referral system as well too. Like you get what for Webull and Robinhood, like 2 free stocks when you sign up.
Hmm.
How are you going to go wrong with that?
Yep. Yeah, yeah. So it's good. It's good stuff. Now the other thing too is, um, I don't know what they have up there in Canada, but here in the States they have one called Acorns.
Okay.
Have you heard of that one?
No.
So what Acorns does, it is it grabs your spare change of
Mhm.
whatever you buy.
Yeah.
So let's say I buy something for 99 cents. What it does, it rounds up to the next dollar. So 99 cents to a dollar, it's 1 penny. So it's going to invest my 1 penny. If I buy something for $3.50, it's going to round up to the next dollar. So it's going to take the next 50 cents to make it $4 into the app. Now, if I buy something that's exactly $10, it's going to round it up to the next dollar, a full dollar. So the full dollar is going to be invested. Now, what you can do is you have different types of profiles that you could invest. You could be conservative, moderate, or aggressive.
Mm.
I'm very aggressive with mine. I was like, nope, I want you to look at the freaking stock market. I want you to look at the housing market. I want you to look at the loan market. I want you to look at everything and invest. And hopefully it does well. You could even set it up where once a month you invest 10 additional bucks, 5 additional bucks. You could make it where it invests once a week, once a month, every day. Like you could set it up however you want. I started the first year I did it. I've had it for almost, I want to say almost 2.5 years. It's been 2 years for sure. 2 years for sure. 2019. And I started with $5 a month,
Mm.
$5 a month, and get my change. Actually, you know what? I think it's been 3 years now. Now that I think about it, I think it's been 3 years. I could probably just check it. So the cool thing about it is the first year that I was doing it, it was just grabbing change, you know? And I was like, cool, let it just grab my change and see what it does. And at the end of the first year, I made um a couple $100, and I was like, dude, this is great. Oh yeah, so it was 2018, January of 2018. So it's been 3 years now. Um, Here, let me just, and I was literally doing $5 a month for a year. At the end of the first year, I had, okay, a little bit over $400. $5 a month. Okay, do the math. $500 a month, 5 times 12, and I was at $400. That's because of the change, and that's
Yeah.
because it was investing it. Um, and then I decided to go $5 a month every other. Um, no, I'm sorry. I did $10 a month. Second year, not I didn't double my money. I didn't go from 400 to 400 to 800. I went from 400 to 1200 within the next year.
Mhm.
So last year I decided to do once a week $10. And right now I'm a little bit over 3 grand.
Nice.
Um, the investment on this thing, my growth has been 27% since I started, positive. And there'll be some dips. There'll be some times like I won't show you the amounts or anything like that of how it looks like, but if you look at anybody that's in
Oh,
here watching it, you'll see the dip right there. It goes up and then it dips, and that's because of what the market's doing. If the market is going good, it goes good. If the market's crashing, it'll dip. Um, and something with that investment is great because it forecasts what it's going to do between now, my age, and then when I'm in my
yeah.
60s. And this thing is telling me, oh, by the time you hit your 60s, you're going to have well over 100 some thousand dollars. I think it
Right.
was like 177. I'm just like, hell yeah, please.
It took the concept of our spare change jar. You know how a lot of us growing up had like a jar by the front door. When you come in, you throw your change in it. Well, we don't have
Hmm.
change anymore, right? I mean,
Yeah.
here they got rid of the penny. We still have change, but nobody uses real money anymore. It's all debit or credit or freaking Bitcoin. I don't know what you're using, right?
Yeah.
But it is what it is, right? When I was talking to my son the other day, I was like, look, you put $5 a week away until you're my age, you're gonna have like, it might not sound like a lot, but like 1,500, maybe $2,000 by the time you're my age. It's not the amount of money, it's what you can do with it, because the power of investing comes into having money to begin with. The
Hmm.
difference of investing, $200 versus $2,000 is huge, right? You could make a smaller interest rate off of $2,000 investing, but your return will obviously be more than investing $200.
Hmm.
So there's one rule that I've been trying to really, really force on myself, and that's pay myself before I pay anybody else. Doesn't matter what I pay myself. It could be $5, but as
Hmm.
long as I'm paying myself before I'm paying somebody else, I'm investing in myself.
For sure. Yeah. So I would just do the research on where you're at in the world. We'll probably leave some links in the description. It's I guess you could call them affiliate links because it does help us out a little bit, but it also helps you out.
For sure.
Like I know with Acorns, for example, like anybody that signs up, like we both get like $5 or $10,
Yeah.
each. We both get that each. And it's just like, okay, why don't you want an extra $10 by simply clicking my link? I get
Same
the
thing with
exact
Well
same
Simple.
$10. Yeah. And then set up your profile and all that stuff. There's just a lot of good stuff that you can use, and I know that one's a good one. So, and the cool thing about that one is if you don't have any kind of
Knowledge.
knowledge, if you don't have any experience, that one just grabs your change and automatically invests it for you,
Yep.
and leave it alone. That the Acorns app is literally set up your account, your bank account. We'll look at your transactions and we'll grab your change and we'll do the whole work for you. You don't have to do anything.
And if you're in Canada, the Well Simple app has options for that as well. So
Mhm.
Well Simple it's pretty much the only one that we have that's commission free, and it's kind of all online, but it has a lot of features. There's like 4 different apps that they have. And if you're looking for a certain kind of investment, they pretty much have it. So all different kinds of styles, reoccurring, as well as your spare change. I know when I first got started with Well Simple, I was like, how do they even know what my spare change is in my bank account? It's pretty crazy how technology works these days.
Yeah. Now, there is one thing I'm going to recommend for nobody to do. And I know next level might be like, well, I don't know, maybe like he might do it. I'm going to say don't do it. I'm going to say don't do it. Now, when it comes to investments, there is this thing called options. And with options, you could actually go negative monies. So if you go in, let's just say like I'm over here putting in Bitcoin. I put in $1,000. Bitcoin's worth 20 grand. It drops down to 10 grand. That means I'm left with $500. Let's just say Bitcoin keeps dropping and dropping and dropping and dropping. I still own that much, just a little bit of Bitcoin. So even if my $1,000 turns out to 0.00000012 something, like it's not even worth a damn penny, I at least have that much of it's worth something. I
Mhm.
probably won't be able to pull it out because what are they going to give me? Air, you know? So options is different though. Now, with options, there is a thing. I think Robinhood has it. I don't know about Webull, but I think Robinhood has it where you could be like, "Hey, I'm going to put $1,000 on this stock and you're betting on it to go up or down. You're just betting money for this thing to do something." So that is legit gambling. The difference though is if you lose, if you're making a bet and you lose, you have to pay that. And it could be taxed. Oh, I shouldn't say taxed, but it should be, it would be like a percentage. For example, there's an article just recently that we talked about that somebody was playing the options and he ended up owing like 70 some $1,000.
Oh, it was a lot more than that. It was like 700,000 whatever. But that's because they were
Was it
like
$700,000?
it was something stupid. Believe me, it was probably close to him. But that's because Robinhood was loaning him the money. It wasn't even money that he had that he was playing with. So one, don't ever play with money you don't have.
Mhm.
Don't ever play with money that you need.
Yeah, so I wouldn't recommend options, period, unless you're like a pro and an expert and you have money to burn. You're
Yep.
like, you know what? I have $1,000,000. I'm gonna put in $500,000, and I know if I go under, I'm gonna lose my million. But whatever. If you have that type of attitude, give me the $1,000,000.
So I'm not gonna lie, I play options sometimes. But anytime somebody comes to me and they ask me what an option is, I say you're not ready for it yet.
Hmm.
You got to do a lot of research to understand how options work. Can you make a lot of money doing options? For sure. I've seen people, legitimately, people that I know that have made 50 grand in a day, right? But like Rohas just said, we talked about articles where people have committed self
Stuff.
deletion.
Yeah.
I was looking for a YouTube friendly word, self deletion, because of gambling with money they didn't have and owing money that they didn't think was possible to pay back. So
Mhm.
you have to understand what the risks are and you have to be comfortable with the risks, right?
Yeah. So I wouldn't recommend it. Next Level knows a little bit more about it, so he treads lightly on it,
Very lightly.
very lightly. You know, like it's like walking on eggshells. Very careful. You know, he's not diving into the deep end. Um, I would just be like, you know what, just do something that's a little bit safer until you feel absolutely comfortable.
For sure.
Um, and yeah, like you said, you know, you never know, you never know. But all kinds of stuff in there. Check the description below. We always leave stuff in there anyway. But we wanted to give you guys at least a simple, like a 101 investment, a simple crash course on stuff that you could look into, because you guys got to start making these decisions now. Like the time is today. Tomorrow's too late.
I'm gonna say this one last piece before we end this, because I know that I've had a lot of questions about it. It's very trendy. Meme stocks. Don't do it. If you don't know what you're doing, don't do it. You're gonna see a lot of people that are playing with a lot of cash that they can play with, but understand your risk levels, right? These meme stocks are being pumped very high, but if you invest into it and it drops, where does your money go? You need to understand your risks, stay within it, play with something safer, never bet with money that you can't afford to lose. And let me tell you, there's a lot of people that made a lot of money off these meme stocks, but there's also a lot of people that lost a lot of money, right? People that were buying into GameStop in the first round when they thought it was going to $1,000 and they're buying into it at 400 and it went to like 20. What
Mhm,
happens to your $400 per stock? Poof, gone. So
mhm.
don't believe the hype. Stay within your lane.
Yeah, we'll do some more videos like this. We'll do some more follow-ups. This was just a simple, this is what's out there. This is what is available. Use the tools that you currently have to have multiple sources of income. And yeah, we'll do some more stuff like this soon. Let this one sink in a little bit and do a little bit of research. The thing is that we can't do the research for you and say buy this, and then you say, "Well, you told us to buy this, and now it stunk." Well, that's what we're saying. Do your research. We've lost money too. We've gained money. We've lost money. So it's definitely a way of making money out there. You just got to be smart about it, and there's ways of doing it. So stay tuned. Um, Stay tuned. You just don't know what the hell we're going to be talking about.
But it's gonna be
And
juicy.
dude, it's what the hell season's coming.
Uh-huh.
What the hell's coming? So what the hell coming soon to a Beyond the Streams channel near you.
Near you.
Cool. With all that being said, um as my good friend Trooper says, go wash that ass. Peace out, everybody.
Going to the moon.
Peace.
Peace.